What is happening, you beautiful bastards? Welcome back to another week. Don't forget, we are now on YouTube. We also have the Patreon. I know that for some of you, it's been a pain in the ass to find our stuff. We have put all the links onto YouTube's, and it's on Facebook. So if you're trying to find Patreon, go to YouTube or Facebook.
Facebook works anyway.
Well, Facebook should work. If not, Linktree/beautiful bastards. Jerry, who this fish?
Biscuity.
Jerry, who the fuck are we talking to this week? Some Jeremy Sherman guy, PhD-ish?
Yes, it's Jeremy Sherman, PhD. He's from California, and he is a psychoproctologist. And if that doesn't sound familiar to you, I'm pretty sure he made it up to fit what we're talking about. And once you hear what we're talking about, you'll understand that it's a very good title. So he's actually a science researcher and writer on the origins of life and all things science. He's a very good guy to talk to, and
he's
a
awesome.
bit of a hippie. Yeah, he lived on a compound for a while.
He's not a bit of a hippie. He is.
He's a total hippie,
but
a fun hippie to talk to.
Fucking fantastic conversation.
He's all about the science of assholes, and not in the good way. We're talking about people who are assholes,
not sphincters.
No, sphincters are a different topic for a different day. Today, we're talking about people being assholes and the science behind it.
And listen, this is one of the ones Jerry and I both thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation with this man, and I think you'll tell on the other side.
Cut to the show.
Go do the thing.
What is happening, you beautiful bastards?
Hey, Jeremy. Thanks for being on the show. How's it going?
It's going very well. How are you doing?
Fantastic. I mean, as good as I can for, the times we live in, I suppose.
There's certainly that. Yes, fascinating times.
They are fascinating. And
they
horrific.
are fascinating. Yes. And yeah, and I've gotten to a place where I'm mostly taking notes on it. I mean, I started out as an activist, but these days it's hard to have much influence. So I try and stay in a state that's a little, you could say, post-angst, post-outrage, and just studying it as carefully as I can. That's what I do.
Yeah, this day you kind of have to catch lightning in a bottle for anything to take off, and there's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah, it's a mess. But anyway, Jeremy, what kind of interesting things you've been working on lately?
Well, let's see. First of all, I just got up from a nap, which was good. No, I mean, really 3 minutes ago. But beyond that, I can say I've been working. I've been working across the spectrum. I've got a what I call my middle-age spread. It's really broad. So last week I was writing I wrote an academic article on biosemiotics, which is explaining how interpretation plays out throughout biology. This week I've been, let's see, I wrote an article yesterday. I can't even remember. Oh, it was certainly related to a central focus for me for the last 2.5 years, which is what I call psychoproctology, which is an attempt to get rigorous, careful, and scientific about a touchy subject. That's why I gave it a light name, psychoproctology. But it's the diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of assholery, of being an asshole. So
I love it already.
Yeah. So I just finished writing a book on that, and I can't even remember what article I wrote yesterday. I could have sworn it's probably related to psychoproctology, because I've been writing a lot about that. For this happened to be an article for Psychology Today on the subject.
Yeah, what is it other than is it just how people become an asshole? Is that how to not be an asshole? It
started about 25 years ago when I got interested in what you call a koan, one of these mystery questions you're supposed to meditate on a long time, which is, what is a butthead? Because since it can't just be whoever you happen to butt heads with. That is, it was a pursuit of a more objective definition of asshole. Non-denominational, nonpartisan definition of what is an asshole, and then how do you stop them without becoming one in the process. And I ended up thinking this was the most fundamental question in all moral philosophy. Most moral philosophy is about what everybody should do. And I realized, do whatever, there's a whole lot of perfectly reasonable ways to live. I was much more interested in what to don't. That is, what's the one thing that we shouldn't be? And that would be, I think, by most people's definition, an asshole, but nobody has a definition for asshole other than it's someone who makes things come out wrong, or more fundamentally, it's someone who butts heads with me. So I got really interested in this question. Yeah, personal reasons, but the book is not a vendetta about the people I happen to think are assholes. I mean, at least it's not I try really carefully to keep that out of it. It's kind of like criminology or psychological diagnosis, but in this respect, it's a professional attempt. You don't see criminologists hand-wringing or stomping their feet about the existence of criminals. We assume there are criminals in the world, and they're trying to get careful at analyzing what's going on with criminals and how to stop them without becoming a criminal in the process. So that's basically what I'm doing with psychoproctology, and but I'm doing it from this unusual angle, which is fundamental to all my work. So for like the last 25 years, last quarter of centuries, I've been working very closely with a Harvard, Berkeley neuroscientist, biological anthropologist. He was on my PhD committee. We ended up jamming extremely well together. He was at Harvard at the time. I borrowed him for my PhD. I don't have a PhD from Harvard, but I borrowed him for my committee, and then we ended up just jamming really well. And now we've been jamming for years. And the question he had just been dealing with before we met was the evolution of language and how language is different in humans than it is than all the other forms of communication we see in animals. And when I first read his book, I was just starting my PhD, and I cried, not at all because it was moving, just because it was way over my head. So I mean, I cried. It just made me sad to feel not smart. But we ended up hanging out and jamming it just at a time when he had turned his attention to a huge question that's dodged with. It's just remarkable how much it's dodged in the sciences. It's a simple question: what is trying, and how did it start? Now, he doesn't frame it that way. Trying.
Okay.
Yeah. So organisms try. They struggle for their existence.
Yeah, that's true.
But computers don't try. Planets don't try. Rocks don't try. Inanimate things don't try. Dead bodies don't try. Trying is something different from nothing but chemistry. So there's nothing our bodies do that violates any of the laws of physics and chemistry. It's all pure chemistry. Nothing was added to chemistry to make us try. So what the fuck is trying? What is it, and how did it start? Is basically the core question. You can think of it as the origins of life, but most origins of life researchers don't actually think of origins of life that way. They think of it as once you get a special molecule replicating itself, then that's the beginning of life, because then evolution takes over. So that is not that's actually not a rigorous scientific answer, because a chemical is not trying. A gene is not selfish. So he was just getting into that, and I got into it with him. Ended up writing a book. He writes in ways that still can make me cry a little. But since we jam a lot, we talk. I ended up writing this book about it. This is Neither Ghost Nor Machine: The Emergence and Nature of Selves. And if you think we're not talking about assholes, we still are. I'll tell you why. I'll show you why in just a minute. Okay, but this is
loving it.
This is a book that explains how from simple chemistry, you could ever get a chemical system that would just come about by accident that is trying to regenerate itself. And so the heart of the issue is this: everything's degenerating in the universe. Everything falls apart. That's the second law of thermodynamics. So the first trying would be, you'd have to be trying to protect yourself against degeneration and repairing whatever degenerates. That is, healing is what we got to do. It's not about replicating a copy of yourself. You can't replicate a copy of yourself if you've degenerated. So, I mean, for example, like I just told you, I took an hour nap. That's a long nap for me. I don't know why I did it. Maybe because I got stoned last night. But So today's apparently a bit of a slouchy day for me. But in the course of this day, I will regenerate 240 billion cells. Impressive.
It's a lot of work.
If it weren't that you're doing it as well. What's that?
So that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work and going on without me feeling it or thinking about it. So this is what all life has in common, is we are all busy degenerating ourselves faster than we degenerate. And so you have to explain that from the origins of life. And we're still talking about assholes. Let me show you why. Because in order to do that, I have to interact selectively with my environment. That is, I have to take in energy that I can use to regenerate myself, to generate, for example, those 240 billion cells. But I got to keep out energy because energy is exactly the stuff that degenerates me. So I've got to be selectively interacting with my environment. That is, I got to let in the stuff that regenerates me and keep out the stuff that degenerates me.
Yeah.
Now, apply that to critters with language, us, and you get what's called confirmation bias. I will take in the ideas that regenerate me, and I'll keep out the ideas that degenerate me.
Yep.
Okay. So this is a problem that normal people recognize, and they face it. They realize that occasionally they're going to have to take in a reality check or two. You know, something disappointing. They're going to have to take in some critical feedback or something like that. From my perspective, assholes have found a formula by which they can use confirmation bias as the answer to all their problems. So we recognize that it's a problem we have to manage. Assholes recognize it as a solution to all their problems. They don't recognize it. It's completely done unconsciously. I don't actually call them assholes in my new book on the subject, or the free podcast, which is me reading the whole book. No, I end up calling them Trump bots. Not after Donald Trump, though Trump is a perfect example of this. The word Trump means fake or bullshit.
Yep.
And it also means to beat everything else. So a Trump bot is simply someone who is robotically playing trumped up trump cards. And you can do that for any cause. You don't have, I mean, I don't believe that assholes actually believe in their causes. I don't believe, for example, that Trump supporters believe the stuff they insist is so important that it trumps all other considerations. Or that a communist asshole or a liberal asshole or a Buddhist asshole believes any of the things that they claim. Because from my perspective, belief is not about lip service. This is a standard idea in decision theory, that the best way to understand what someone believes is to look at their behavior. Talk is cheap.
Yeah, so it's all bullshit, really, is what they're pushing for their ideas.
And bullshit. I don't know if you've seen this work. There's a guy named Harry Frankfurt who wrote a book called On Bullshit, and he basically argues in it that there's a difference between lying and bullshit. Lying is knowing you're not telling the truth. Bullshitting is not caring whether the truth is irrelevant to it. And I think that that's what you end up with. You end up with this kind of dissociation, brain dead cycle. It's a death cycle where you don't have to think. It only gets in your way to think if you found the formula by which you can be an asshole. I call the wild card trump card formula, which is I can do anything and whatever I do is the best. It trumps everything else. Once you find that formula, thinking is unnecessary. And this is why it's so tempting, so alluring to be an asshole, something we underappreciate, how tempting it would be for all of us. It's just so much easier to play God than be human. And so it would be a natural tendency in humans. I do a little work in astrobiology, which is, you could call it actually more close to astropsychology, which is studying what would be likely in any intelligent extraterrestrial life form. I am sure that assholery is a universal problem for language-bearing organisms anywhere in the universe.
That's an easy approach.
Those people are still thinking. It's just what they're not approaching it with maybe logic, right?
I think that the logic is a complicated thing. So logic is actually a syntax. It's like math. It doesn't actually tell you. It doesn't. There's a common belief that it's common assumption that if we all just employed logic, we could crunch our way to the same absolute truth. That's not actually what logic does. It's a syntax. It's got no grammar to it. It's got no pragmatism. It's got no semiotics. It's actually, so what you plug in where doesn't matter. So I would actually argue that all humans are rational, because rational actually means ratios, comparing this to that. So we're all rational. That doesn't actually solve it. I would also actually argue that an asshole is a highly evolved organism. That is, they are super duper predators. I don't think you can. I don't think there are any assholes in the animal or biological world. It's a human thing to be an asshole. You need language for it, but once you have it, you can really serve the. You could say the object of the game throughout the 3.8 billion years of life's history has been for you and yours to thrive. Well, assholes can be really good at that if they can get away with it.
Yeah.
That's probably why I have so many of them now.
Yeah,
that's right. No, so that's the point. I want to make very clear. It's really tempting to be an asshole if you could get away with it. So a lot of the second part of the book is how do you keep it? How do you make it cost them? Because I don't think the idea of reaching out to them or finding common values or the things that are generally promoted in psychology about how do you deal with them, engage in conversations. I think that stuff is absolutely right for anybody who's not an asshole. But if you're actually dealing with an asshole, that's not the level to be playing at. It's only enabling. I don't believe a word an asshole says is an authentic word, no matter how passionately they insist on it. The words are just weapons at that point. And the weapons are all to prove themselves triumphant no matter what. That's all I think is going on.
Yeah, we see a lot of that now. That's a good point. I've never really thought about it from that angle, but on social media and everything. Yeah.
What's that?
On social media and everything, a lot of these people that they're assholes. You hear them pushing these ideas that you can clearly disprove, but against all evidence to the contrary, they stick to their guns. That's their
right, because it's not about the ideas, and their guns can be all over the place. That is, they'll claim a principle that a second later they'll deny. And if you call them on their hypocrisy is actually a source of bling for them. It's a status symbol.
Yeah.
That is, when you think about it, kings and emperors get to be hypocrites. So if you catch me in hypocrisy, that's like saying you've got a fleet of Ferraris in your garage. It's total bling to them, because the whole point is the appearance, the false appearance of mastery over everything. The hypocrisy is actually it's ornamentation. It's part of it.
So what do you do about it?
You call them. I have a few basic techniques, but one thing that I think is totally underutilized is focusing on the fact that they're doing this. So I'm interested in what we used to call tar babies, and actually I call them gum babies because that was the original name, the African name for tar babies. A tar baby is if I accuse you of being defensive, there's actually nothing you can say in response that won't in some way affirm my accusation. So you can say, no, I'm not. That will work. Okay. If I say it's not all about you, you say, because you don't know what to say, because at that point anything you say is going to kind of infirm it. So I think you've got to use, I try to avoid those things with everybody, normal people, but if I'm dealing with an asshole, it's exactly what you do. You say, see what he did there? He will say or do anything. It doesn't matter what. To feel triumphant moment to moment. He's masturbating in public. And if he's got allies in it, it's a circle jerk. I masturbate too. I just do it in private. But this guy just does it about everything. All he ever says is something that he'll say just anything to pretend as if he's right about everything. And whatever he says in response, because these guys are one-trick phonies. They have nothing else. They've abandoned all other possible modes of being because they get in the way of being an asshole. When you're an asshole, your brain atrophies. You don't need to use your mind anymore. You've got an alternative. So anything they do in response, these one-trick phonies, will confirm what you said. They will confirm your accusation, and you just do it relentlessly. You say it over and over, and they will walk away, and they will claim triumph, and you will have made it cost them.
So basically, what we're saying here is we're going to fight bullshit with bullshit.
There is a piece of that. There is a piece of that. That is, I will use any trick that an asshole will meld. If they will use a trick, I am fine using it back. The difference is that I am keeping straight in my mind that I'm using the trick.
Right. You're not fooling yourself.
They're not doing that.
Yeah.
But it's more than that. What I want to say is, don't follow their lead. They want to take you by the nose. They're into what I call trumpiring, which is playing umpire on the debate they've entered. So they're going to be the judge deciding the case in which they are simply an advocate. So they're busy telling you what's permissible and isn't permissible in their court of law. So they want to frame the debate. And that's part of the boner they get is that they can lead you around by the nose to whatever. And I'm saying you have to ignore their content. They don't mean it. They don't care about it. And simply focus on their MO. Their MO is just this one trick. That is, so I've got a list of, there's basically two parts to what they're doing. They're spinning their opinions as if they're authoritative. That is, they're playing fake objective authorities on the situation, and they are trumpiring. They are doing what we call frame dominance, which is dominating what the topic is. And if you ignore both of those things and simply concentrate on the overall MO they're employing, it's confusing to them, because what they're used to, the reason why they go out so bold is they're like exhibitionists. They sidle up as if they want a conversation, and then they open up their trench coat and show off their stiff little self-certainty. And if you're shocked, they pretend you're a prude. And if you get angry, they get prudish at you and pretend that you're being offensive. And if you quit, they claim, no matter what natural human response you have to their self-assertion, they have a way of claiming triumph over it. So none of that will work, nor will it be okay, nor is it enough to say we can't do this because that won't work with them. No, the whole point with them is that nothing will work with them. That's the only reason they're brave enough to go out and show off their stiff little self-certainty. It's because it works. So you've got to find something else. And all I'm saying is you focus on that MO. See what he did there? This guy will say or do anything to pretend he's triumphant and knows everything. The guy's playing God. And he'll say, no, you're and take it off in some direction. There, see, he did it again. And you just keep that going. That's one of the techniques I employ.
So you are kind of playing their game there, though, because they do that a lot.
What's that now?
You are kind of playing their game there because they do that a lot.
No, there's
that's okay. I have no problem with it. I could be a complete asshole.
One of the standard responses to psychoproctology is just don't deal with them.
Right.
And of course, there's this famous quote about that, which is never fight with a pig, you'll just get dirty, and the pig likes it. And I like that as far as it goes. It just doesn't go far enough. Obviously, there are pigs you're going to have to fight with because they're about to kill your family or take over the country or whatever they're going to do, or they're just, they're ruining things for lots of people. So the question is, how do you deal with them? So that's where the focus has been in that work, which is that there are going to be assholes you have to deal with. Yes, sidestep them when you can. There are also assholes you cannot deal with successfully. I guess the only alternative there is passive aggressiveness, which I think gets I think it's actually a more of a virtue than we acknowledge. That is, if you really are oppressed. I mean, slavery lasted in this country for 12 generations. It's mind-boggling to think about. 12 generations, 250 years. That was a whole lot of assholery that didn't get checked. Apparently, you can't stop all assholes, at least not anytime, at least not necessarily in your lifetime. So yeah, there are going to be situations where if you genuinely are oppressed, passive aggressiveness is the only alternative. I think the problem with the way it gets its bad reputation is theatrical passive aggressiveness, where you play victim like you can't actually confront directly, and then you therefore you get to play the passive aggressive. But other than that, passive aggressiveness, I would not begrudge a slave of any race undermining the master however they could. I mean, what do you expect? So Yeah. So there are, yes, there are lots of, what I want to say is there's no surefire formula. If there was, the assholes would have figured out a way to undermine it long ago. That is, they have antibodies to everything discouraging they can come up with. So this is why what I count as the closest to success is the silence I get from assholes where they just move on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and they'll often move on claiming triumph. But the point is that I've got to try to make it cost them in public. They're masturbating in public. I really like masturbation myself, but I don't think you should do it in public about matters of real consequence to everybody. That is, take your fantasies offline.
But so many of them do it now, and they're getting checked, but they just keep going.
That's what he's saying.
As long as they have their little pod that listens to them, what do they care?
And that's the fascinating thing is that I have been the amount of assholes who have cried uncle to me, often with a slightly moralizing tone, like, we're having a private conversation here, please don't disturb it, is really kind of interesting from these guys. You know, like, yeah, fine. Have your that's the circle jerk. That's fine. Go off and do that. But it's also a symptom of just how many antibodies they have against anything that might challenge them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this goes back to what you were saying earlier, where they keep out things that don't support their narrative, right?
That's right, and we all do tons of that.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, like, I'm an atheist, but don't get me wrong, I'm totally delusional. I'm a human being. I can't possibly stand reality full time, which is the third component. So I talked a little bit about how I would define them, a little bit about how I try to make it cost them, how to humbly humble people who will say or do anything to avoid being humbled. That's that second question, which is, and the other one is how do you keep from becoming an asshole? And masturbation is actually a big part of this. I call it optimal illusion, which is kidding yourself in ways that help more than harm. I need to kid myself. Reality is too much for all human beings. And you've got a bear and a man on the wall. The bear looks fiercer, but I also got to say the bear has it easier than you. And if you think about what that bear could worry about at night compared to what a human could worry about, it's just overwhelming to be human. And that's the effect of language. It would make us an incredibly anxious species. All these missed opportunities, all these threats, real and imagined, that we can imagine, that we deal with that other animals don't. And language also, like I say, gives us the possibility of confirmation bias, the ability to rationalize ignoring any part of reality or fantasy we don't want. So I think it's essential to our coping strategies that we have, you could say, mojo pit stops where we can go and make believe we're God. So an example would be masturbation. Another example would be watching blockbuster movies in the summertime blockbuster movies. Yeah. So when I'm watching a blockbuster movie, I totally believe it's real and that I'm the hero of it. But if you tap me on my shoulder, I know I'm not. I mean, I know I'm not. I remember. So what I'm trying to do is demote all the highfalutin versions of escapism to an elevated status for all forms of escapism. Now, I've been to Trump rally. I've been to a Trump rally, and I've been to death metal concerts. They're exactly the same in all respects, except for one. They're both cosplay. People go to the Trump rally. They're chanting these badass sounding lyrics without paying any attention to what the lyrics are saying, just like at a metal concert. They're getting off on how they're the gods. They're the smart ones, what I call we glee, the glee of being us, the wise ones, not like those douchebags out there. The only difference is that after the metal concert, folks find their car and they go back to reality. Mm-hmm. Whereas at a Trump rally, whereas at a what's that?
And I said not the Trumpers.
Not the Trumpers. No, they go back to their car and think that they've met something more real than reality. Same thing with church. So I mean, it's fine to go to church for your pit stop. It's not very different from me watching a Marvel comic movie. I mean, you can get wisdom from both, and you also get escapism from both. But to come out of, in a way, the clergy are doing the equivalent of what an usher would be doing. If an usher came out at the beginning of the movie, at the end of the movie, say, "You like that movie?" Say, "Yeah, I like that movie a lot." You want to see the sequel? Yeah, I'd love to see the sequel. Okay, so here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to go outside this theater and tell everybody that the movie you saw was more real than reality. That's what a church is kind of doing. And here's the thing. Here's the good thing about that, which is I'm gonna tool you up with a kit of bullshit, a wild card trump card formula by which you can bullshit about anything. It's not just that this movie is more real than reality, but about anything you want. And not only that, you can identify with Iron Man so that anybody who attacks you is attacking Iron Man. And anybody, which means that and you can call anybody who ever challenges you Thanos, and you can play God that way, like you're like the hero, you're the right, righteous, mighty, whatever, all your life. Will you do that for us? That's what a church is in effect saying, I want to say. And I got religious friends, and I'm anxious about the way. I'm deeply ambivalent about religion because I mean, if my life were harder, I'd probably be doing that too. But in general, what I'm saying is this is dangerous stuff. We have to know how to use it right. So take your flights of fancy, but always with the return ticket to reality in your chest pocket.
I was not how far out you. And anything is a bad thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Take Jerry. He's a radicalist on the Matrix. It's bad.
Yes. The Matrix is my reality.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's what the. Yeah, no, I wrote about the red pill this week. Anybody who thinks they take the red pill and comes out of it emboldened is full of shit. Because actually, if you actually really got a glimpse of reality, no, you'd have a headache. You wouldn't.
I always said back. Do you remember when The Walking Dead was huge and everyone was like, "Oh, I would do this and this." All of you would be dead. I'm sorry. You have children, you're dead. You have a dog, you're dead. All of you are dead because you'd be. Hey, look at what's happening outside now. People are just being stupid. We'd all be wiped out. Yes. You could say you'd have a bunker. I don't care. You'd be dead.
No, it's no wonder the zombie thing has come up. And I also think it's part of the same thing as the red pill thing, which is that there's a way in which we go around thinking anybody who disagrees with us is a zombie. And here I am thinking there are zombies. I mean, a Trump bot is a zombie, but I don't think it's because he disagrees with me. I mean, if Trump pandered to my tastes exactly, that is, instead of pandering to the right, I'd still think he's an asshole. And I wouldn't support him. That is, the pandering is not convincing to me. I don't think. And I've loved working with Trump because, I mean, I haven't actually collaborated directly with him. I do know a few people who've met him. No, because he's the perfect asshole. You could mistake Stalin for a communist. You could mistake Hitler for a nationalist. No, they were assholes. Trump is harder to mistake for anything else. It's just crystalline. It's just essence of.
But isn't that politicians just in general?
No. So here's a sobering thing for me about politics. I don't know if either of you've ever been married. Have you ever been married?
We're both married right now.
Okay. So you know how you've got to keep you got to do two things in a marriage. You've got to be totally honest, because if you get caught, it's really going to screw things up. You're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
And you get caught on something big, you're going to be in trouble. And you have to also lie, because if you don't lie, you're going to be in big trouble. So you've got to manage both very carefully, and they're at odds with each other. I mean, I think that in a way, the marriage vow is, what I love about us is we can talk about everything as long as we don't. So
that's where I've been fucking
I think
up
that's
all
the
these
bind.
years.
Now try imagining marrying millions of people. That is, maintaining the affinity with millions of people. I'm good buddies with Dan Ellsberg. Do you know that name? He was a big deal in the 60s. He wrote the Pentagon Papers.
Yep.
He's 92 years old now. There was a movie a couple of years ago with Meryl Streep and a bunch of others called The Most Dangerous Man in America, about him, about Dan Ellsberg and how he exposed the Vietnam War. and we'll sit together. The guy's 92 now. He's a local guy. He was a family friend. He also, before he did all that work, he founded a field that is essential to my work, which is called behavioral economics. And we'll be sitting there talking. He'll say, the government lied. And I say, Dan, could you imagine a government surviving that didn't lie?
Mhm.
And he'll say, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're right. No, it's a how you lie, how, this will be a fundamental question. You cannot afford to lie about things in your marriage that are going to cost you in the long run. And you can't afford to tell the truth about things in a marriage that will cost you in the long run. That's true of any intimate relationship.
And that's where I think nowadays they're really running into that, because as soon as they're putting something out, there's so much information out there, they're getting proven wrong almost immediately.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you're sitting there like,
yeah,
assholes.
yeah, but that's where the
whether
fleet
it's
of
Biden, Trump, or whoever.
right, but that's where the fleet of Ferraris comes in handy.
Mm.
Which is that, notice that is not happening to Trump to the same degree. That is that the Republicans are being caught out in hypocrisy at an astonishing rate.
It doesn't seem to matter,
And
though.
it doesn't seem to matter, because actually to the people who support him, that's all bling. See, these guys they'll scold you for being immoral and laugh at you for caring about immorality. They're playing both sides of it. They're the punk popes. They're these bratty prudes. It's an interesting combination where they both get to play the adult tutoring you on morality and the petulant brat who doesn't have to care about morality.
Mm.
And that's a standard move. There's actually an argument. There's a quote from Seneca back in Roman times talking about that. No, not earlier than that. Greek, one of the early sophists, making the case to his students. Sophists were basically the spin doctors in Socrates' time.
Mhm.
And he's saying, no, you laugh at your opponents for their for caring about morality, and beat them up or tutor them on morality. That's how you get it both ways. That's the confirmation bias thing. But anyway, what we're seeing is this very tempting option, which is, it doesn't matter that I disagreed with what I said 5 minutes ago. These principles are just bullshit for weapon that work on people who are dumb enough to care about morality. Morality is bullshit, and I'm wise enough to know that. So therefore, I'm going to use morality as a weapon against the suckers who buy into it, and I don't have to follow it at all. And I look like a winner, and a certain percentage of any population will simply have a hard-on for winners. That's all.
But I mean, like, if we take the Republicans here, right, which, going off of everything that's happened in the last year and a half, they acknowledged that there was an issue there, like they had to in January, and then all of a sudden, instead of correcting course, they doubled down. But it seems like they did that because they realized half of, or maybe not half, a number
40
of who was already listening to them said, we've lost our shit here. We're not following you anymore. And the people who are still listening to you and drinking the Kool-Aid, they're like, well, we got to double down, and because we've got the Kool-Aid people, if we don't follow them, we've got no one. And so now you've got this shit storm of assholery.
Well, yeah. So I think of it as an epidemic of something that's actually appealing. So it would be like any fad that way. I'd say the big existential question is whether sobriety will kill them before they kill sobriety. I'm watching this weekend.
Darwinism.
I had a conversation with a young Iranian friend who actually is finding the Republican argument more and more appealing. So there are converts. For a long time, there were no converts. And once again, this is not about politics. I have a master's in public policy. I can do policy analysis, but this is actually not relevant to this.
Yeah, we're just using them as an example.
What was that?
We're just using them as an example.
They're just they happen to be today's epidemic. If I was writing in the 1930s, Stalin would be right up there.
Oh yeah.
No, that's right. It's not left or right. None of that matters. That's all window dressing. It's whatever happens to be the fad right now. I mean, I actually don't think that Trump is a racist to the core. He might be, but that's kind of irrelevant. If he could get more heads by pandering to the non-racists, he would do that. He even tried it for a little while. It's not about what they believe. It's all about how they strut it and the boner it gives them when they strut like that. That's all. And that's true. And like I say, I have Buddhist friends. I live in Berkeley. And not only that, I lived for 7 years on the world's largest hippie commune. I was actually an elected elder of the world's largest hippie commune at 24. We're having a reunion this Sunday. I'm going to get back together with them. So I end up dealing with lots of hippies who have fallen for some equivalent to this, where they're playing God from a spiritual or whatever perspective. I spend half my time hassling them, making it cost the smug left. It's not about that. But
it's any asshole.
That's right. You can be an asshole. You can be a polite asshole. You can be a prudish asshole. I mean, Mike Pence is a total asshole, but he just has that Ernest Pence brow. He just lucked into that. He happened to be born with that brow that makes him look like your father. Anyway, no, that's all window dressing. It's not that the emperor has no clothes. It's that they're nothing but costume. They're whatever costume serves them within the cult that they're trying to cultivate. That's all.
Is there like an evolutionary reason for that? Like how do we get from being animals and evolving into a bunch of assholes?
No, yes, that's the heart of my explanation. So I in the book or in the podcast, I list all the ways that people think that they can distinguish an asshole, and I say these don't work. And then I say, okay, so what would work if those don't, or if you can't do it by what they believe or how many mistakes they make or their biography. You know, some people say that assholes all have a chip on their shoulder or assholes are pampered. All that stuff. If you can't do it by all those, what's left? And I say, well, I want to take an approach that actually is how we go at the question, what is trying, the origins of life. That you start from what precedes it, and you explain how it emerged from there. And so back to I kind of answered this already, but I want to make sure that it's very clear. With language, we are exposed to way too much world that we can deflect with language. So we are an extremely anxious and extremely denialist species because we have both. We're overwhelmed by world. We're like trudging through a sandstorm of mojo eroding possibilities. And we can construct words to shield ourselves from it selectively. That's that business I was talking about, selective interaction. You want to interact with what you can use to regenerate yourself, not what degenerate you. So there are some simple formulas by which you can treat confirmation bias, this selective interaction, as the solution to all your problems. And once you find those things, everything else can atrophy. You no longer have to wonder. You're freed from doubt. You don't want to think about what the words mean. Remember my Iron Man example a minute ago. So you got a white hat word and a black hat word. So I'm Iron Man, and anybody who challenges me is Thanos, and anybody who challenges me is challenging Iron Man. You know, something like that. Or I'm a patriot. Anybody who challenges me is a traitor. So you stop paying attention to what the words mean. You make other people wonder what they mean. So if you call someone a traitor, they'll get defensive about it because no one wants to be a traitor. You don't actually know what traitor means. You don't care about what it means. Or take a word like socialist or communist. Or, so I quit dating at one point because everybody I found in the dating pool in the Bay Area was using mindful. And I would ask them to define it, and they couldn't actually tell me what mindful was, but they knew it was hella good and that they were mindful, and that anybody who challenged them was not mindful. And when I got that on on 31st dates, I said, I fold. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I could move to a different neighborhood where they have different white and black hat terms, but no, I was done with that because by that time I was already twitchy about people who would translate disappointment into automatically, I have violated some moral imperative. Turning ouch into you have done me wrong somehow. No, sometimes I have done someone wrong, but I don't want that assumed automatically that I somehow owe you whatever you want. That's dangerous to bring into your home as a partner. So when mindfulness became the word, I bowed out. But these days it's socialist. If you asked, or critical race theory, whatever, you got these terms. No one knows what they mean. They just know they're hella bad. So you can accuse anybody of them and get away with it because you'll end up putting people on the defensive, which means you won. That's what's going on right now. I mean,
wokeness.
if you ask Marjorie Taylor Greene to define communism or socialism, she couldn't. She wouldn't have a definition.
I don't know what she can define.
Grizz and I talk to a lot of people from all these different circles, and my biggest frustration comes from all this terminology everybody's throwing around. It's constantly evolving. I don't know what half that shit means, and neither do the people telling me that's what they are. But my view is entirely fatalistic, and I don't care anyway because we're all going to die. So I'm just chill with all of it. I just listen, and I kind of
you've taken that route. So
yeah.
So I have not. I am and there's a useful distinction. That's actually what my article was about 2 days ago. Come to think of it, now that I remember, I'm 65. I get to forget things sometimes. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
So suppose someone says you're a name caller.
Okay.
I have 3 moves I can make with that. 3 basic moves. One is I can pretend I'm not and say, no, I didn't name call. I never name call, and then make up some bullshit reason why what I just called you wasn't a name. Another move would be what I'm going to call cynical or fatalist hypocrisy, which is, name caller is a name. You just called me a name, which means that it's all bullshit. And I can do whatever I want, and only suckers fall for morality because we're all going to die.
Grizz, that's me. I always say no you.
That's right. So, and that is a way to feel like a beautiful bastard, but I actually don't think it's that beautiful because I've taken a different route.
Okay.
I'm what you'd call a fallibilist ironist. Fallibilism is a term from philosophy that I love a lot, which means the recognition that any interpretation, any behavior is a bet. That is not a certainty, not 100% certainty. My motto as a fallibilist is no matter how confident I am in a bet, I remain still more confident that it is a bet. Okay. So I know I'm betting.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that.
I know I'm betting, and I'm not mealy mouth about it. I make really ballsy bets. Because I'm also in the business of shopping around for better bets. There are better and worse bets. A cynical hypocrite might say, yeah, if we're all guessing, then all guesses are equally dubious. What I call the doctrine of foregone inconclusion. Hey, nobody knows anything. I might be right too, so fuck off. Is basically that move, and I think it's a luxury. I think it's an indulgence. Actually, our bets matters to us a lot. It's a white knuckle ride. I don't want to die. I don't want to blow up the world. I mean, I think this stuff matters. I'm in the business of explaining how mattering emerged from matter. That is things only try because they're trying to do something because it matters to them. In my case, I'm trying to stay alive. Those 240 billion cells I'm generating. So it's a high stakes game for me. I actually don't want to die. I mean, I will, though. Yeah, so I will. I've written I'm a musician on the side, so I wrote a song once called "I'm Sure Gonna Miss Me When I'm Gone," and this morning I wrote something about, hey, act responsibly, clean up after yourself after you die. Don't leave that mess for other people. If you have a messy death, tidy up after yourself. I'm just joking around with the irony about death. That's just bizarre concept to it. But what I want to say is, a fallibilist ironist recognizes that it really matters how we bet, and that we can't bet perfectly. And that's built right into irony. The concept of an ironic circumstance is you do the right thing and it comes out wrong, or you do the wrong thing and it comes out right. That is, I made a big mistake that turned out to be the best decision, and ironically, it turned out to be the best decision of my life. Or I wanted to avoid I wanted to take the fastest route, and ironically, I ended up stuck on the slowest route. That's irony. Okay, that's our world. That's our reality.
Yep.
I can bet right and have it come out wrong. So this is where humor really plays in beautifully. This is where this is why I'm a fallibilist ironist. I know this shit matters. I'm really trying to make good guesses. And life is fundamentally slapstick. It's fundamentally ironic. We're on these winding roads and we're trying to watch out for shit on either side of the road. I don't want to, people say you're arrogant. I'll say, yes, no, of course I'm arrogant. Question, my idea of perfect peace is whether when I'm anxious about being too arrogant or not arrogant enough for the situation. I'm minding both sides of the road. I don't want to be too loving or not loving enough. I don't want to be too, too serene or not serene enough. I don't want to give someone too much attention, not enough attention. All these are life's dilemmas. I'm watching this winding road. It changes. And because it changes, there are going to be times when I'm actually a little too far over to one side or the other, or that I could die from making a good decision. Yes, I turned right because the road was turning. I just turned a little too soon or too late. That's fundamental. It's inescapable. That's why trying is an interesting thing to think about. Yoda was full of shit. It was inspirational when he says, there's no trying, there's only do. Bullshit. There's only trying. No, that's all organisms have ever done is tried.
All right, I can see
I've
that.
never heard anyone put a name to it. I would say I'm a little closer to what we're talking about now than my no use statement. I just got a little touch of fatalism on top of it. I like it.
No, I understand. And also it can be a cultural thing that is, try it this. You are that for fun, for shits and giggles when you're with buddies that enjoy that. Just like I masturbate or I watch those movies. This is I honor, as the Pope of wisdom, let me just say, I praise your hard ass cynicism, because you do it in an appropriate way. You don't actually live your whole life that way. You're more of a fallibilist ironist, at least when you're talking to me. But go ahead and play badass who doesn't give a shit, because we're all going to die in your free time. I love
little
that.
mental masturbation. I like it.
Exactly. No, perfectly wonderful. I endorse it. I have my versions of it too. Just so you know, great affinity.
Is it possible for us to not become assholes? Because I feel as the older I get, the more asshole I am.
That's for sure, Grizz. I can say that for certain. That is you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I wrote something brief on this the other day, but it's kind of a midlife crisis thing. I'll grab it because it's so quick and it happens to be right here. Let's see, just a second.
I think I'm fine with everyone throughout most of my life, and then there are just touches where it comes out, it explodes in a fire explosion, and then it comes right back in again.
So the short answer is yes, I think you can. I think it depends on your life some. That is your situation. I have to caveat everything I've said. I've had the cushiest life I know. I don't know anyone who's had more of a cushy life. So if I come across as a thug, it's because I'm safe enough to do it. I mean, in this world of cancel culture on the left and the right, there's never been a more woke movement these days than the Republicans, and there's never been a more cancel culture movement than the Republicans these days. But nonetheless, we're all doing that thing. But I don't have any status to maintain.
Right.
So my academic allies, they have to worry about what they say. I can come on here and say what I want. I don't need status to make a living. That's an incredibly lucky position, and I have used it to exploit my opportunity to think and express myself more. So if you have a life that's more constrained, more confining, more oppressive, and you have a temperament that doesn't do well in it, you could end up very much exiled as an asshole, or not exiled, but as part of one of these circle jerk asshole cults. But I don't think that everybody's an asshole, and I don't think that no one's an asshole. The standard arguments against psychoproctology, I get the two first ones is, hey, no one's an asshole, or everyone's an asshole. I don't buy either of them. I think there really is a difference and that I don't think of the mental masturbation we do on our offline or online offline makes you an asshole. I think we all need that. So the fact that I go to the bathroom doesn't mean I'm an eternal pisser. The fact that I drain the lizard doesn't mean I'm a sex what do you call it, a sexual criminal.
Mhm.
The fact that I engage in assholery as a hobby on the side, watching movies and doing whatever, or playing violent video games, whatever, that doesn't make me an asshole. An asshole is someone who employs it in real time. But I did write this yesterday. He shed his family when life got too tough and a hot, loose chick beckoned. Divorced his wife, abandoned his kid, thinks it proves he's a god. And then he shed his conscience when life got too tough and a hot, loose cult beckoned. Divorced humanity, abandoned reality, thinks it proves he's a god. There are just some direct parallels. There are reasons why people would be tempted to become assholes as they grow older.
Mhm. Oh, definitely.
Or younger, either one work. When you're younger and you discover the power of skepticism, the obvious easy detour to assholia is to be pan-skeptical, skeptical about everything.
That's me.
Yeah, and I'm much more interested in being skeptical where it helps, I want to be skeptical about the right things, just like I want to be assertive or aggressive about the right things. I want to be skeptical about the right things. I want to love in the right places. I want to hate in the right places. I'm trying to figure out where to do those. None of those are the formula. We're trying to figure out which is
no formula.
Or there's too many. Yes.
Well,
either way
exactly.
you look at it.
There's no perfect
either way,
formula.
There's no perfect formula. When you've got two, you've got to deal with the conflict between them.
So earlier we were talking a little bit about the Matrix, which I try to touch on every
God.
episode.
Yes, the Matrix. Yes, okay.
It's a big part of my life philosophy. So I assume you've seen that, right?
Oh yeah, no, that's what I wrote the article about the other day. It was about wokeness. Matrix is about wokeness. It's about
so the Matrix has a lot of different analogies wrapped up into one very nice package. But that has me wondering from your perspective, because this is a question that you seem to know quite a bit about. It might even be tied into being an asshole.
Oh, totally. Yes. So there's a great connection.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about free will, because I think being an asshole and the Matrix and free will are all really heavily tied together.
Well, okay. So, so let me first by mentioning this obvious thing. Woke is not obvious. It's overlooked. Woke is a new term for a very old concept. Plato's cave is what the Matrix was built on, which is the idea that we're living in a delusion, basically a virtual reality. That's what Plato's cave was about, was that you're only seeing shadows of the real deal. And then you leave the cave and you're blinded by the light of reality. And you have I once was lost, but now I'm found experience. And then it becomes your duty to rescue other people who are stuck in the Matrix or something like that. This is a very standard model. Now, there's not a lot of talk about this, which is that what I call I once was lost, but now I'm blind syndrome, which is that you come out and you're actually stuck in another delusion because you're a human being. And you go in there and claim that you've got the truth and you're going to rescue everybody. Every asshole thinks they got the truth, and they're going to play hero that way too. Like they're saving everybody from because they've now seen the light. Like I said earlier, this realization, it might have been Monday morning, that anybody who comes out of anybody who swallows the pill and becomes heroic like that is kidding themselves. That's not what you would do if you actually were exposed to reality. It's a horror show. So there's that. Now on the free will question, I have a lot to say. I have 4 videos I've made on the subject. Because why? Because I am studying the chemical origins of will. Will is another name for trying.
Oh yeah, I was about to ask you that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. So the will to live that even a tree has, even though it doesn't have any feelings or any thoughts, a tree is nonetheless regenerating itself, the equivalent of my 240 billion nuke cells a day. So it's got a will. And this is actually a hard point to get across to, believe it or not, a lot of scientists who would like to pretend as though there's just these replicating chemicals that you could call selfish, but they're not, they say. And your body is just ornamentation for that, and you're just basically a robot. Now, there's lots of appeal to that concept too. That is, I don't think we really just want free will. I think what we want is a mix of free will and determinism. I want a ratchet. I want determinism to keep me from falling, and I want freedom to climb. That's what people really want. But the amazing thing about that debate is it goes on between people who think there is no will, that is that everything is just physical chemical mechanisms and there's no emergence of will, that you're not really trying. The kind of people who say choose determinism, which is laughable, or though you might try to believe that you try and believe things, you don't, which is also laughable. So that's what determinists will say. And they'll say it with a certain bravado, like they're brave enough to face it. And then you got the free will people who assume will without explaining it, and then want to argue that it can act without interpretation of any signs. That is, that it can act without any cues. Now, I think that both of those are wrong. I think what we've got is interpretive will.
Somewhere in the middle?
No, it's actually a different framing of the question. Check this out.
Okay.
A stop sign only causes me to stop when I crash into it. I don't stop at a stop line because I crash into it. I stop at it because I interpret it as about something for me, given my will. So it's about traffic for me. So interpretation is different from cause and effect. And even scientists are incredibly sloppy about this difference. Try this. There's never a cause and effect relationship where the cause is absent. But if I'm expecting a nod from you and I don't get one, that is, I might interpret that. If the IRS doesn't get a tax return from you and responds to it, it's responding to a non-existent thing. Interpretation is radically different than cause and effect. Interpretation is what selves do, selves that are trying to achieve something. It's interpreting signs as being about something. So we end up with these habits of sign interpretation. Yes, it's all happening in physical chemistry. The stop sign is reflecting photons into my eyes. It's all running through this chemical system. But I am not just the chemical system. I am something different from nothing but chemistry. That's what the book explains. That I could explain how I'm something different from nothing but chemistry, because it's a huge question to say trying is something different from nothing but chemistry. What and how did it start? That's the real question there. So I have an explanation. I have an explanation how simple chemistry could turn into something that is trying and interpreting its environment in ways that it responds to.
Let's hear
it. So none of that is covered in the free will debate. It's kind of sidestepped because they're talking about free versus determined. When they're ambivalent about it, I want determination to keep me safe and I want freedom to rise, just like an asshole does. I want perfect safety, which you get from trump cards, and perfect freedom to do anything I want. That's the wild card trump card formula. So I am trying, I am interpreting in my environment. I have what I'll call interpretive will. And yes, in a way, it's a bit of both. That is, what I'm mostly trying to maintain is internal determinism. That is, I would like to be as robotic as possible. I talk a lot about robo-envy. That is, people would love, I mean, wouldn't you love it if there was something you could say that would simply upgrade the software on people who bug you and make them stop bugging you? That would be nice. Wouldn't you like to be able to do that with the things that bug you about yourself already? I mean, it'd be great if we could be, so the robo-envy is real. Yeah, we also freak out about being robots, but we would also kind of like to be them. In our cognitive science work, we say, no, the mind is not a computer, but what it is you could say a virtual computer generator. That is, anything I can turn into a habit, I will. I can't possibly afford to think about everything. So I want to automatize as much as I can. So,
right.
So it's a different slice on it that focuses on the question of will and what it is and how it starts. And I want to say, in all of my methodology, if you bring me a word like free will or determinism, I'm an originist, which is I don't want to come up with my impressions of it or find supporting arguments for or against it. I want to explain what it is from its origins, like I did with asshole. and like I do with trying. In fact, there's a parallel here. We're called living beings, and I think the most accurate way to talk about assholes is being an asshole. Being is an interesting word.
Mm.
It is a predicate. No, is that the word? Yes. No, it's a participle. It's a verb it's a noun turned into a verb. So being is an active state of maintaining a state.
Yep.
Right? That's what it is. It's a weird kind of combination. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm being by generating all those cells today. That is activity, so that I can maintain myself as I am. I would like to stay myself. And a asshole is being an asshole. It's an active maintenance of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get many origins of life researchers who are talking about the relationship between living beings and being an asshole. So so consider yourself fortunate.
Amazing.
Amazing.
The people that are hardcore assholes, like let's say Republicans, for example.
Oh no, there are some really nice Republicans, but the members of the current
I'm talking
QP,
about I'm talking about those Republicans. I know a lot of nice Republicans, but the ones in question.
I call them Tantrumplicans. That's what they are.
So we'll go with them. Is this kind of, is it tied into free will? Are they consciously deciding to do this in some free will form?
Yes and no. What I would say, so I would think most of them slide down a detour into assholia. It's actually a shortcut. That is, every path we could possibly take in our lives has shortcuts to assholia, where you can learn to ape certain sounds and wear certain ornaments or outfits. You see this a lot in academics. A student will learn to ape the sounds of a certain field of, and they won't know what the words mean. They're not actually making sense, but it sounds like it's right. So you can ape the sounds. You can posture as if you have landed where you're going on this path, like you wanted to become a Buddhist or a Republican, a conservative or whatever. But you've actually taken a detour into assholia, and you probably don't know it, or you do and you don't. Is the best I've been able to find on this. It is, if someone calls you an asshole, you'll say, "Damn right I am," and that's why I'm triumphant. Or you'll say, "No, I'm not." It doesn't matter to you whether you are. You're bullshitting. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be paying attention to it. But choosing to be an asshole, here's what I want to say. We're mostly driven by emotions. So when we think about how people come up with the words they're saying, they stumble on it. They might be imitating someone. And if they get what they want for it, fuck, it becomes a habit. I mean, you don't have to actually have ever thought about what it said. But if you say that thing and it works, you'll simply do it. So yes, it's very much about will. We're all trying to figure out how to turn as much as we can into habit. So if you can come up with so I think they become what I'll call bullshit dozers. They're just bulldozing through society with bullshit, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily a deliberate choice. I don't bet it usually is. It's something that just comes easier. It's easier to play God than be human. That's all.
But it's probably a lot more likely it's a subconscious choice, because it's just like your stop sign. They're seeing the stop sign, or they're seeing these people are listening to me and the rest aren't. So I'm going to follow what's listening.
That's right. Yeah. So I think a whole lot of what makes anyone move towards any version of woke, including the Trump version of woke, is, I mean, I coined this term the other day. I coined a lot of terms, and a lot of them are just too corny they're just atrocious. But I coined the term swaydar. I have radar out for ways in which I can have more sway, or at least feel like I have more sway.
Makes sense.
So I'm on the lookout for swaydar. It's unconscious. I wouldn't want to think of myself that way. That sounds thirsty. It sounds desperate. But I've got that going on in me. And if I stumble on a way to feel like I've got more sway, well, I'm not going to forget it. I'm just going to lean into it, unless I have some kind of conscience or reason why not. Unless someone makes it costly to me, I'm going to end up using it. So in that sense, free will determinist, I don't know. It's emotionally willed is what I'm saying. My desire to have more status would be like that. And I'm saying, do it offline, dude. Get a fucking room. Self-love is important. Get a room.
Tough love is important.
That's my take on it. You might have a different take on whether a Tantrumplicon is where do they fit in the free will determinism thing from your perspective?
It's hard to
I
say.
think
I
you
mean,
can have it both ways.
it's a bit reactionary. Like when you take the stop sign example, right?
Yeah.
I come up to a stop sign on the street. It's my choice to stop or not. And of course, like most people, I've made the decision not to listen to it. But then you talk about these Republicans in the context we're talking about. It's it seems like a gray area to me. I mean, yeah, they are. At the end of the day, they're making a decision to do what they're doing, but it's kind of a primitive response. It's almost automated. It's like right on that line for me.
No, yes. So this is the funny thing about language and what we build with it. What we call there is a term for it. Intersubjectivity. There's a line about some of the Middle Eastern countries that they go from tent to palace to tent in 2 generations. Humans are, this is a very, very fragile web we hold up. We could end up primitive in really no time. And not just because of technical degeneration, but this kind of feral behavior you get where we were once domesticated to society and we become increasingly domesticated to a society that is playing up being feral. And your comment about like everybody, I don't stop at stop signs. Again, I have plenty of room for that. I might do the same thing, but I actually don't think that's true of you. I don't think that's true of any of us. I actually think, and I have, a lot of our work is also on something I haven't mentioned here, symbiogenesis. How do wholes come together? How do collectives happen? There's a lot of talk about altruism. I don't believe in it. I actually believe that what we have is it becomes an addiction. It's actually a lot like addiction. That is, because I depend on things in society, I will do what it takes to maintain my access to it. A classic biological example is why we need vitamin C. We used to generate our own vitamin C. Then we come in contact 35 million years ago with trees that afford us an alternative source of vitamin C. We lose the ability to produce vitamin C. Now we're addicted to external sources of vitamin C, whereas bears don't need that. They generate their own vitamin C. Okay. My people used to farm. Then stores came along. I lost the ability to farm. And now I depend on grocery stores. That's how I think of most social cohesion. But there will be free riders, people who will pretend as if they are independent of it. They'll talk like they don't need society. These days, that's really easy to do because society has become so reliable to us. That is, I can pretend that I'm more independent than any other person in life history. But at 10:30 last night, my internet went out. I don't know why. And suddenly I realized, no, I actually, you don't miss your water till your well runs dry. Our wells have been running pretty reliably for many years. So a lot of people think they don't actually depend on society. I think we actually do. And we would notice it. And what we do when society breaks down, a lot of people will become, they want to be first in line to be the anarchist, rapist pillagers. And I think that's some of what the Republican Party is attempting right now. You reach up with one hand to grab whatever lofty bullshit justifies you reaching down with the other hand to grab whatever the fuck you want, is what I think goes on. It's a standard thing that happens in crises. It's not, when the going gets tough, people just, they get delusional. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So, and part of that delusion is this claim of autonomy, where I don't actually stop at stop signs. I know if you saw a policeman nearby, you'd stop at a stop line, stop sign. If you worried about your own safety because of the traffic oncoming, of course you would. I mean, so I love the bravado's fine, and I don't actually take it seriously, and I don't think you do either entirely. It's a half of the story there, but but anyway,
berate him for not stopping at stop signs. Just to go with it.
I do stop at stop signs. I'm really just saying I have driven through one.
What's that?
I said I do stop at stop signs. I'm just saying I have driven through one.
Yeah, me
In our
too.
neck
That's
of the
right.
woods,
No,
everyone does.
that's right.
That's
That's
what I'm
right.
saying.
So we all do. And that's another thing about interpretation is that unlike cause and effect, there's in classical physics, if you know the vector of the cause, its momentum, its inertia, and all that, you can predict its outcome in a two-body power problem. When you stop at a stop sign, you can stop like thousands of different ways, and the difference, a subtle difference, can make a huge difference to what happens as a result.
Yeah.
It's way more squirrely than classical physics. Yeah, so that's why irony is the right response. Is that you can make a perfectly adequate stop, the perfectly appropriate stop, and be rear-ended to death. That's the clusterfuck we live in. And I don't want to be cynical about it. I want to be, I really don't want people dying, or I don't want me to die and me and the people I love. There are a few people who I think if they died, I wouldn't wish it, but it'd be just desserts for the inept way they lived. Not that they were the author of themselves. I don't think we create ourselves. I think I said recently, your temperament is the horse you rode in on. Feel guilty to tame it, but don't make the mistake of assuming you sired that thing. Your temperament is a product of more factors than you could possibly know.
Genes, parents, society.
Oh yeah, all sorts of things. It's just
everything.
Yeah, all that stuff makes up who you are. So yeah, you'll be held responsible for it, but you're not the author of it.
The author was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Author's constant, really, because it's probably it evolves, I'd imagine.
No, it's constantly evolving. It's totally evolving. No, so when people talk about their gut, what I think it means is the entire constellation of all the influences that shape how I am shopping among interpretations today. And it keeps on changing. Sorry, this one was good, so I'm going to call it right up here. This is a tiny cutesy poem I wrote last night. It's not long, and no worries. It's not, bear with me. It's tiny. When in your youth you discovered a truth that pierced you to your core, do you call it the truth, or remember your youth and go searching for some more? So, no, when I read stuff I wrote 5 years ago, sometimes I read it and am proud that I thought that 5 years ago. And sometimes I read it and am proud of myself for being someone who's still growing beyond it.
I've been there.
I am not learned. I'm learning. That's kind of fundamental.
That's it's all of us.
Yeah. Though some won't claim it. That's the point. There's a lot of people who find one little piece of truth and claim that it's the truth about everything from now on, and that they're in a position to lord it over people. That's what I think is happening at best with the Matrix. So if you come out of the cave, or you take the red pill and you recognize that deception is possible. Now, if you take that out to the I once was lost, but now I'm blind mode, you are now pursuing the world to tell everybody else that they could be delusional. Fuck that. No. Yes. Apparently there's a lot of delusions. Everybody's ignorant about something, says Will Rogers. So anyway.
So if we're talking about the Matrix, like that's a great analogy for this whole situation. In the Matrix, Neo takes the red pill and he is transported to reality. And reality is a pretty shit deal. Reality sucks in the Matrix. And I think it's pretty fucked up that they made the decision to try and free everybody, because a lot of people don't want that reality. It's a raw deal for the people who are just minding their own business, living in this really nice virtual reality that they were given. I sure as hell wouldn't want to wake up from that.
Hell no.
Yeah, and it deals with that a little bit, right? And it also even deals with the possibility that the reality he woke up to with the red pill is not the real reality, right?
Right.
Yeah,
we talked about that a bit too.
Things. Yeah, at the same time, Neo is a stud muffin, and he's a badass. And so, I mean, I think that Plato, actually, the guy who wrote the original screenplay for the Matrix, when he was talking about the philosopher king, so he says this stuff in the Republic, and he's trying to talk about how democracy is not likely to work, autocracy is not going to work, And he comes up with this idea of the philosopher king. Now, it has led to incredible amounts of assholery in the world. I mean, and not because Plato said it, anybody would have come up with it. The Plato's cave idea would have come up for anybody with language anywhere in the universe. It's a standard archetype you could expect astropsychologically. It would show up anywhere. But he did sort of hint that the idea was that the philosopher king could possibly take the view from nowhere. That is, because they would be completely detached, they wouldn't need status or anything else, or anything like that. They would just be interested in what's true, and they would continue to develop the truth. That's what the philosopher king is. But Plato's really ambiguous about this stuff, because Plato is looking for a logical formula, to come back to what we were talking about earlier, a way that you could crunch reality and divine the truth. He sees that Pythagoras has done that with triangles, and he says, can't we do that with virtue and love and everything else? Couldn't we logic our way to find out what the absolute true thing is? So what Platonic love is his definition. So they have this symposium. A symposium means sitting around drinking wine, equivalent of getting stoned, and talking about what love is. And that's where Platonic love comes from. So he's saying all this other stuff where you chase tail and all that sort of stuff, that's a rough approximation of love. But if you want pure love, it's going to be Platonic love. So that's what he's trying to do with all morality. He's trying to crunch it logically. Mm-hmm. So there's a part of Plato, because we only know Socrates through Plato. Plato's Republic is basically Socrates mouthing things that we know that Plato wanted to put on paper. And he's saying there is a formula for living, for virtue, and the philosopher king will pursue it and maybe find it, because they actually believe that you could actually come up with the right formula, pure formula, so you would actually know what pure love, pure virtue is, all this sort of stuff. So he really, that whole pairing of Socrates and Plato, it's right on the edge. It's halfway between know-it-all bullshit about how they found the formula, and recognizing that no, the bedrock of reality pulls the rug out from under itself. It both starts the whole inquiry, and at the same time, it sets up this wish that you could come up with the formula that is still dying, even though, I mean, 2,500 years ago, I still know philosophers who talk as though they have found the formula for virtue. So, and there'll be a temptation. I would like a formula. I'd like to be able to wield it to stop all my asshole friends, all my asshole allies, asshole people. No, it ain't gonna happen.
No.
Anyway.
Well, I think that's an excellent point to leave off on here, because Jeremy, we don't like to go over 2 hours because we tend to lose attention spans. You know
no,
what I mean?
Right? No, yeah. Certainly not. But I can leave you with this this motto: no matter how hard I chase the truth, it will never catch me.
I like it.
All right.
So anyway, you've given me an incredible amount to think about. My head hurts a little bit.
Yeah, take a nap, have a beer, whatever. No,
now I know why you took a nap before the show.
Yeah,
that's right. No, I do. Yes, I'm a napper, definitely a napper. Yes, enjoy it. Have me back anytime if you like. It was a pleasure to talk with you guys. Thanks for listening. I can be a little intense and long-winded, but
no worries.
Okay.
The listeners are going to love it, and I'm sure you guys listening, if you want to talk more about this, write us in. But Jeremy, where can they find out more from you?
So if you just Google my name, Jeremy Sherman, you'll find way too much of me. But if you want a consolidated form, I've got a website now, jeremysherman.com, and there you'll find my 8 core research questions, and the media page is all fleshed out. I've got a YouTube channel on my Origins of Life research, a YouTube channel on psychoproctology. I'm really active on Facebook. I generate 10 memes a day easily on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Way too much of me. You're more likely to drown than starve if you go look me up.
Well, there it is, guys. Go ahead and look him up, and you'll be able to drown. So again, thanks, Jeremy. It's been a fantastic episode.
That's been
Thank you
awesome,
so
man.
much. Thanks for having me. Take care, guys.
All right. Thank you again for listening to Beautiful Bastards. New episodes every Monday. Remember to like and subscribe. A place where everyone knows your name is hell.